Welcome to the Good Games Podcast, episode number 172. This is a show where we talk about video games and gamer-related things. My name is Frank from Parmenso, and I'm your host. And as always, I'm joined by the co-host of the show, Alex Nunez. What's up, man?
Hey, hello. I just flew back from New York Comic-Con, and boy, are my arms tired.
You flew back? I live farther than you did, and I drove.
It's a figure of speech.
But your arms are really tired, though? Wow.
Yeah.
What you been doing? Man.
You know, like handstand walking and stuff.
Oh, man.
Because the feet give out after a while.
I can definitely agree with you with the tired part, man. I'm exhausted. This has been a hell of a weekend for both of us, I think. And so if you didn't already know by what Alex just said, we were at New York Comic-Con this past weekend.
Yeah.
And a lot of things happened and a lot of things got done. And a lot of things were announced, and it's just crazy town over there. And I mean, while you were there, did you get the chance to play anything significant? Like, did you get the chance to try any games or anything while you were there? Because they had a pretty decent showing of games this time around.
Yeah. I did get to play a few things. I didn't stay super long on Saturday, but I finally got to get my hands on that Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Yeah.
And I was super happy about that. 'Cause, man, that game is, I don't know if you know, Frank, that game is pretty good.
Alex, I've been talking about that game for months now. I've been talking about that game since June when I actually got my hands on it at
I have
E3.
not noticed.
Man.
But yeah, that shit is fire, man.
Yeah, I couldn't shut up about that game, and now I'm glad that you see why.
Yeah, it's so accessible, so easy to pick up and play and do cool shit. And man, I can't wait. Can't wait to play that game.
Yo, it's like the possibilities are just flying through my head, like all the characters and just the graphics and the supers and oh my god,
the transformations and
yeah, man,
insta kills.
The transitions too. Like when you defeat a character, there are certain transitions. Like, they'll do the whole character flies into a mountain and the mountain explodes and
yep, I definitely pulled that off. Yeah, that was great.
You did? Uh-huh. Nice. Yeah, there's the other one where it's if you finish them off with a power attack, like a fireball or something, it shows the effect of the fireball passing through the earth. And it's yo, I don't know if you saw that, but that's also pretty cool. And the destructive finish is awesome. Like when you actually finish the team with a destructive finish, it's so cool.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I finally got to play it. I was disappointed though. Apparently, they at the New York Comic Con they had one station that didn't have the new. It was the first build I think of the game that they showed off. So it only had the first 6 characters. I was the second time I went up to play, I was yeah, okay, let me try someone like Android 18 or some of the other characters because I just played. I think the first time I played, I used Vegeta, Piccolo, and Gohan. So
nice. It's a good team.
Try these guys out, and then I was yeah, okay, let me try some other characters that I wouldn't give a shot, and then they weren't available on that second station, so I was so I just played Team Bad Guys, and yeah, man, that game real good. Need to play.
Good, so good,
mm-hmm.
So good. It's February can't come fast enough. It's too good. It's too good.
Yeah, it is.
But so. Was there anything else? Did you try anything else of note?
Yes. I think the only other thing that I got to play was that Monster Hunter World Capcom was showing off. Yeah, so I was in a squad of 4 people. Luckily there was 4 of us, and we sat down and we did I think we had a choice between easy, medium, and hard hunts or whatever. We did the hard one. Even though some people in our group wanted to bitch out and do the easy one or the medium one, I'm like, nah, man, let's go.
God
go
damn,
all out.
Mercy.
Hell yeah, man. I want to be challenged. I don't want to be given a fucking prize just for, just for playing. Fuck that. I want to earn it.
Okay.
So yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing in Monster Hunter. So there was you can go in your tent at the beginning of the demo and kind of like set up your loadout and stuff. And I didn't care for any of that stuff. I was like, I'll just go with whatever's given to me. I don't really want to think about this too much. But yeah, so I guess by default, this is what I'm assuming everyone was given. But like, you have these guns, which I'm not sure has been in any other Monster Hunter games. You have like these big, like freaking huge guns that are like, you have to like drag around, and it's very laborious you carrying them around because they're so big and unwieldy. But yeah, I had like these big fucking like basically tank cannons that I'm carrying around, and that was kind of cool. I don't know, just shooting animals and giant T-Rex things and trying to hunt it down. And I've kind of seen some Monster Hunter from afar, but I've never really delved in. But yeah, I was very curious about Monster Hunter World because now it's finally coming to like one of the big boy consoles, and it's not stuck on one of the portables where you have to have like these crazy claw configurations for your hand so that you can contortion it and play the way it's meant to be played. So now it's, you can play with an actual real life controller and do the stuff like without, causing long harm to your hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little confusing just because like there's a lot of menu stuff you have to do and like changing ammunition, and I'm pressing the wrong button sometimes to bring out the weapon, and sometimes I'm just firing when I meant to just like load the weapon, and it was okay. But eventually we did enough damage. I think we were getting close, but time ran out for us, so we didn't get the kill at the end. But I think we were doing good.
Cool.
But yeah, Monster Hunter World it seems very cool. I'm definitely intrigued.
I am too. And I'm probably going to pick that game up because it was one of the games that I got to play too.
Okay.
And it was my first time ever playing Monster Hunter.
Did you bitch out and do easy too?
I think the team settled on medium.
Okay.
So
I'm still looking down on you, but okay, I'll respect it more than these.
It's my first time. Oh my God.
It was my first time too, man. Because why not?
Jeez.
Just dive into the deep end, baby.
Sometimes looking before you leap is a bad decision. Like, that's why you lost. That's why you guys lost. Like, you guys didn't know what you were doing.
So, again, it was our first time. What the hell?
But have you ever played Monster Hunter before this at all?
No, I have not.
Oh. But yeah, the team decided on medium. So it was me, and actually Chet was on my team as well.
Okay.
Our good friend Chet, he was there. He was on our team. He said that he could like do a medium hunt by himself. Like, that's
okay.
how much he plays Monster Hunter. Like, he's a Monster Hunter freak. He plays Monster Hunter like crazy.
Uh-huh.
So he said he could do a medium by himself, but he decided to go on my squad just to help me out because like it was my very first time.
Uh-huh.
And the other two guys that were on our team were people that we didn't know, but we were all like communicating, and it was cool because. And Chet also told me this before we started playing. He's like, this is why the community of like Monster Hunter is like so much better than most other communities of like most other video game communities, because it's really cooperative. Like it's like you guys really have to work together, and
yeah,
he said everybody comes together and everybody's actually really nice. Like with Monster Hunter, people like go on like hunts with you and stuff like that. It's like, akin to Destiny, I would say, even though Monster Hunter came first.
Yeah.
But we were all like, talking to each other and telling each other what was going on. And, while we were like attacking the monster, first it took a while to find the monster. Then it took a while to get used to the controls of fighting the monster. And then we pretty much like took it out. I actually succeeded in slicing its tail off.
Oh,
so
okay.
that weekend did a great deal. And I didn't know that was a thing. Like you could like each monster has like weak points, and you can actually like, dismember it in certain ways. And I was able to slice its tail off, and then someone was able to slice off like one of its legs.
Okay.
And so then the monster was pretty much done at that point. So yeah, it's a fantastic game. Fantastic. I like it a lot. So
yeah,
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too.
But yeah, man. Well, all right. Well,
yeah, I think that was all I got to play at New York Comic Con. Just lined up for Dragon Ball Z like twice and some Monster Hunter.
Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm. Real good.
God damn it.
So good, man.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm in there. I'm in there.
I felt bad for the first guy I played because I just smoked him. It's like,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Damn.
it was not even close. I was like, shit.
Oh man.
I'm so sorry.
Did you feel like the controls were like somewhat intuitive? Like, did you feel like you could play the game easily, or was it like a difficult time for you?
No, it was super easy. I only glanced real quick at like the move list. I just saw a bunch of like quarter circle motion, so I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I knew it being an Arc Sys game, you can just do like light, medium, heavy to get a simple combo going, and I just canceled that into like the super animation or whatever, the special. I forget what they're called, but I was doing a lot of that, just super basic stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it just gelled like immediately. Just knowing, that's an Arc System game, simple combos, let's go.
Yep.
And then the second time I learned how to like teleport behind people, and then realize that, oh shit, that eats up a lot of my meter.
Eats up a meter.
I don't have special no more.
Yeah, when you teleport, I mean teleports are dope, but they eat up I think one entire bar.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah, because
it's very advantageous.
Yeah, I spent a lot of that match with no meter. I was like, where did all my meter go?
Yeah, that's teleporting is you got to pick and choose your spots with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can do some fantastic stuff with teleporting if you want to burn all that meter. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that game's too good.
But that was, I think, pretty much everything I got to do at New York Comic Con. Walk the show floor a little bit, hang out with some people, see some cool cosplay. But
there was a lot of great cosplay this year. I unfortunately, and it's one thing I was going to comment on, but and I still will, but unfortunately there was like no room to appreciate the cosplay that you saw, because you would see it, you're like, oh, that's awesome, and then you get hit by like 30 people, trying to get to where you're standing, and it's like, God, it was really, really, really crowded this year, and I will say Thursday was okay. Thursday was like Saturday, like maybe 4 years ago, and
okay.
But the thing is, Thursday was still very manageable. You could still like walk around, and there was space, and you could like actually stop in places and chat with people, and you had opportunities to do a lot of the things. But Friday was like worse, but it wasn't like that horrible. Like Friday, I got the chance to do a lot of the like autograph signings that I wanted to do.
Okay.
And then I was like, all right, hopefully Saturday won't be too bad. Then I got there Saturday and I'm like, fuck this. This is like, it was like so bad. Like, dude, like, we saw each other on Saturday, and I told you like Artist Alley was packed. Yeah. And that is never the case. Ever. That's never been the case.
It's in a different location now. We used to be out of the way and, didn't have as much foot traffic, but I guess now it's like by the panel area for, I forget why, but yeah, there was a reason for it, but it got moved, and I was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it was just unbelievably like crowded, and the space was a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And it was like packed, and I'm like, this is not right. Like Artist Alley was a place that you went to escape.
Yeah.
And now that wasn't even safe. So it was just like, man, this is like too much. Like Saturday, I think I only stayed until about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. And then I was like, I'm done. Absolutely done. I was done at like 1 o'clock on Saturday. I'm like, there's nothing else. Like, like I don't want to do anything else. Like all the panels that happened on Saturday weren't very interesting. And I didn't really want to leave the Javits Center to go to like the public library or Madison Square Garden, and even then those panels weren't very compelling.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me just stay at the Javits. And yeah, I was done at like 1. I was like, there's nothing. There's nothing. Like there's really nothing for me to do here. I did everything I wanted to do Thursday, Friday. So, but Saturday was just ridiculous. But I will say, despite that, if there were just less people, I think this would have been like one of the best Comic-Cons, because I did have a great time on Thursday and Friday. I got to go to a lot of panels on Thursday and Friday, and like they were really cool. And there were some panels that were very disappointing, but I just got to go to a lot. I got to meet a lot of the, the people that I got the autograph, I did the autograph signings for, and it was really good. It was really, I think their new structure or the way they tried to do things, especially with the panels, is like really good, and I think that would be best practice for the future cons.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Saturday I couldn't enjoy anything. I was able to take pictures Thursday, Friday, but Saturday, nope, not happening. Not happening whatsoever. But yeah, I would say this would be like one of the best Comic-Cons if it just wasn't for the amount of people. There were so many.
It's New York, man. You should be used to it by now.
Yeah, but this was like even I felt like claustrophobic. I felt closed in by the amount of people that were there on Saturday. Dude, it was like I had to get out of there just to take a break. Like our good friend Chet, like I met him in the Pro Lounge. It's the lounge where anybody with a Pro badge could go into and just like relax.
Mm-hmm.
And they had like water and chargers, and it was good. It was a nice place to be. It was a place to get away. But Chet and Che and Javier and Freeman, they were sitting in there for like hours. Because they felt the same way I did. They felt overwhelmed. It was just too many people.
Uh-huh.
So I knew I wasn't the only one that felt this way because it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I could have had a better opportunity for like more things. I would have had like a better time of it if just wasn't so many people. And I heard Sunday was really bad too.
Really?
Yeah, I heard Sunday was really bad. Not like as bad as Saturday, but like maybe probably as bad as Friday, but with a lot more kids because it was Kids Day.
Mm-hmm.
So that created a lot of chaos with like, people with strollers and, like you got to watch the babies and you got to watch the kids. And it's just,
mm-hmm.
And everybody's trying to get those last minute deals. So it's just like it creates more chaos. So
yeah.
But yeah, some friends of mine told me Sunday was pretty bad too.
I think they just need more places for people to like chill and relax. There's not enough of that there.
Yeah, those lounges were a good idea. Like they used to have press lounges, but that pro lounge was really useful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just glad that not a lot of us pros knew about it. So, like I found it on accident. I was like, "Oh, that's a thing."
Uh-huh.
So I went in there and I looked around. And I don't think anyone was really checking your badge, but I sat in there anyway, and I'm like, okay, this is awesome. So just
Nice.
hung out in there. But those lounges are a good idea. I think they should probably utilize a lot more of those rooms and make more lounges because, like PAX, you always had a place to sit.
Yeah.
And here it was just, nah, man.
Nope. Just huddle around this like entrance because not too many people are here. If you're lucky,
and shit, if you really want to sit down, your ass is sitting on the floor.
Yeah,
and that's people do that all the fucking time over there, and
sitting on stairs and shit, blocking traffic.
Yep,
it's like,
yep. I mean, people are tired. Like people's feet are wrecked. It's bound to happen. It's just, man. Man, Saturday was ridiculous, but I did have a good time at the con despite Saturday. Like Thursday and Friday were great, I thought. And I also got the chance to play a few games, and I got the chance outside of the games that you mentioned, I got the chance to play Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle.
Okay. Oh, that excited?
Okay, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. It's probably heavily in beta right now.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was completely not finished. Like, just everything about it felt unfinished. So I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure Arc Systems Works they're definitely concentrating a lot more on Dragon Ball, but I'm hoping that they can clean up what I saw of Blaze Blue Cross Tag because. It's a little painful. So
okay,
we'll see. But overall, I see the potential of what the game could be, and I'm just hoping that it is that once it actually is finally finished.
Okay.
So So yeah, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to say, oh, it's terrible. It's not finished yet. So I'm not going to judge it just right away on that. But yeah, it was very unfinished. So, but they had several stations of it, and there was pretty much no one lining up to play it. Like you could pretty much like play. Like there was this one guy that told me, like he let me go ahead of him. He's like, yeah, I've been here all day playing it, and I'm like, wow. And this was at like I think this was at like 5:30 on Thursday, I think. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you've been here all day? Wow. And
like there's other stuff to do, man.
I know. I know, but I mean, hey, that's a big fan, huge fan.
Yeah.
And I made it a point to use Ruby Rose, because she was like a character that you've never seen before in a fighting game, especially like a game like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a point to use her and like, another character. I think I used Hyde from Unveiled a lot, and he's pretty cool. And it makes me actually want to pick up Unveiled again. But
okay.
Yeah, it was heavily unfinished, but it showed promise, I thought. So we'll just have to see what happens. I really can't comment on what I played, because I was just like, wow, because there's like auto combos for every button, and like one button DPs, and like two button specials like Marvel vs. Capcom, and I'm like, oh,
what's wrong with that?
It's because she'll stop sucking. Don't suck and actually do the real inputs for the supers. You get more damage out of it. But yeah. So we'll see what happens with that game. So yeah. Besides that, I guess we can move on to the show, because Comic-Con is gone.
Yep.
And
another one down. Can't wait for next year.
I think I can. I think I can, but if something happens, like I said, I wasn't even going to go on Saturday, but I scored a last minute pro pass, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'll go. I guess I'll give Saturday a shot. And I was like, there was really no point in going on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
You gotta be like me, man. Just do the one day, one and done.
Yeah, if I am going to do one day, it'll be Thursday for sure. For sure. Because everyone is fresh. Like vendors and like celebrities and panels and whatever. They're all fresh.
Yeah.
So like by the time you hit Sunday, like freaking Kevin Conroy, the nicest guy in the world, but you could tell by like my friend told me like on Sunday, because he went on Sunday, that he was absolutely wrecked. Like he was exhausted. You could see it in his face.
Damn.
Yeah, because he had like the most consistent schedule, I think, out of all the people doing signings. Like he was there, he was doing signings like all day, every day, with the exception of like maybe 3 or 4 panels that maybe he had to do spread out throughout the weekend.
Uh-huh.
But besides that, if he wasn't at a panel, he was at his table signing.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's Kevin Conroy, so he had mad people.
Yep.
So. He was exhausted. Super nice guy, but he could tell he wanted to go. So
I was with a 20-something in our group who didn't know who Kevin Conroy was, and I was just like,
what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, you know what? It's all right. It's all right. Not everybody knows. I'm sure people who are listening know who he is, but if you don't, Kevin Conroy has been the voice of Batman since the Batman animated series.
Many might say he's the best Batman.
Yes. He's the definitive Batman, some might say.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, he's been doing it for 25 years now. Been doing the voice of Batman. He's pretty much not known for anything else, even though he's very talented. He's like a Shakespearean actor, and like he's known for doing Batman, but it's Batman. So
yeah,
that's pretty awesome gig to have. But yeah. So he was done.
Yeah,
he was done on Sunday. He was over it on Sunday.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I know. I also saw Tara Strong. Tara Strong, she's funny as hell.
Yeah.
And she's really nice as well. And she's also super talented. Like, she's done so many voices for things. And I'm like, God.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah, but all right. Let's go to the show. Let's talk about what we've been playing.
Oh, how exciting, the show.
Yeah, we actually got the chance to play games, I guess.
Yeah.
There was some time. So, you're going to start us off. So, what you got for us?
So, I finally got around to a backlog game of mine. I played Adrift.
Okay.
If you don't know, Adrift is basically when they first showed the trailer, everyone was kind of comparing it to that movie Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock and George Clooney and all that, because it starts off, you're in space and you're being blown away from your space station. You're like, holy shit, I'm gonna get blown away, and I don't want to, get sucked into the dark space, black hole, whatever. So yeah, I got to play that, and I don't know, I think the most criminal thing about this game is that it is just uninteresting as hell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Visually, it's gorgeous. This game is beautiful. It is stunning to look at. I played it on PC, so it's like, all the bells and whistles there.
The best version.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And I know it supports VR as well, so I imagine that must be a trip because, you're floating
really cool.
all over the place in space. I don't know how it will do if you're like, super motion sick, but it's a thing you can do. But yeah, this game is gorgeous, but I don't know, it feels like it's doing the same thing as like something like a Gone Home, where you're kind of in this space and you're going around into each of the different rooms and trying to explore or uncover what happened there. But again, I guess the way they try to incorporate that stuff into the game, it makes it feel like I have no connection to any of these people. Like, the game starts you off like right after the disaster happens. The space station that you're in has already exploded. You're kind of floating back, or you're being knocked back, and then you catch yourself at the last second with this rope that just conveniently happens to be there. You drag yourself in, which is unfortunately all a cutscene. And then once you have control, you just kind of like float around in space in different directions and kind of have to go to, whatever the next objective is. And I don't know. It's just like, that's the game. It's just like you going from place to place and doing the thing. And I think the biggest thing that gets in the way is like, I don't know what they wanted to do with the story. Like, I feel like that was probably the most important thing about it, but it tries too hard to be a video game. And I think that's its biggest flaw. Like, there's a very obvious video game framework for it. So like, once you get past the intro and you get to this main hub area, and then you get into this room and it has like 4 different doors, and I'm like, oh, I get it. I have to go into each one of these areas, and again, the space station is in disrepair, and you have to, in order to get access to the emergency escape vehicle, you have to like turn on different parts of the space station, even though it's all like blown to hell. So you have to, through these 4 doors, you have to go through each of them, and only one is unlocked at the beginning. So you have to go into one area, do the thing, flip the switch or whatever it is you have to do, come back to the central hub, turn on the thing, and then, go back to the next door that's open. And it's just a very obvious framework. And I don't know, whenever I see that, like, if I can tell exactly what's going to happen in this game, if I have like a roadmap like that, I'm like immediately disinterested. It's just like, okay, I know what we're doing. And now that I know exactly how long I have to play this game and exactly how many more rooms I have to not check off the checklist, it's just like a drag. It's like, okay, I'm going to constantly do that. And they don't fucking deviate from that formula at all. Like, there's no like surprises. There's nothing to make it exciting. Just like, okay, you're doing, going to the next area. And again, it looks very beautiful. Like, there are some like beautiful little set pieces. And especially when you go out into like open space for the first time, it's just like, it's visually arresting. It's just so beautiful. Like, Earth is right there, and all the different debris floating around in the area. But yeah, it's just so bland. And the game kind of asks you, like, if you really want to be, or if you're like kind of invested in the story, or if you're very curious about what's going on, you can like deviate from that critical path and try and find the different like audio logs and read all the emails and stuff. But again, none of that stuff is really like presented to you as you're going through the story. So like there's not a lot of reason for you to go out of your way to find that stuff unless, again, you're just very curious. Which is kind of like, and like, I don't know, nothing that happens, I guess, in the story, like, quote unquote, is like super interesting. Like, yeah, there's like, you know, the main character who you're playing is the sole survivor of this space station, and I guess they were working on some project, which I'm still unclear what the project was, but they basically work for some like mega corporation or something that they have this space station up. And I guess they're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to produce up there, but they're trying to produce something, and they were on some schedule and trying to push the station past its limits. And for whatever reason, pushing the station past its limits caused it to blow up. And I was like, okay, that seems extreme, but here we are. And there are some, like, maybe some interpersonal stuff that's happening on the ship that is kind of interesting. But again, it's like I only got like bits of it. I didn't get enough of it to be like, oh, hey, that was like that was a fucked up thing that you did, or I don't know, whatever else that they were trying to tell with that story. It just, I guess because I chose not to go out of my way to find the thing, because it's kind of annoying to just figure out where you're going. That's another thing. Like, just finding the next place to go was sometimes a chore, because the map is terrible. And there's not like an actual map. It's just like the mini map that you have in the corner where it has just a bunch of icons and stuff. And it actually took me a while to figure out, like, oh, hey, there's an arrow on that mini map that's telling me where to go, because in the beginning I didn't even know sometimes where I was supposed to go. I was like, okay, what's next? Where do I go to continue this game? I want to get to the end of this game, please. And eventually but the game didn't tell me anything about this, so I was like, okay. And then I just figured it out that, oh, there's this arrow, and that's where the next, story point is, or that's the next main objective marker. And you have this ability to scan. If you punch in the right analog stick, it'll do like a little ping, and different things in the environment will get highlighted within a certain radius. So, but I don't know, the iconography for that didn't make sense. So it just kind of like highlights different objects with different icons, and the story, like the objective marker, wasn't really obvious. It turned out to be like the company logo for like, the whoever owns that space station. And I was like, oh, that's what that is. Okay, I didn't realize that at first, because there's also like a magnifying glass icon, which I thought was like, oh, hey, you can inspect this, but really it's just like a door that you interact with and unlock. I'm like, oh, okay, that didn't make a lot of sense, but all right. Now that I know that, I know not to like pursue the magnifying glass. Let's go on to the next thing. But yeah, it's just like weird stuff like that it felt like they didn't really put a lot of thought into, and I don't know, it's just bad. Like, especially sometimes when you're far away from something, and if I do the scan, normally the scan only shows things in a certain radius, but like sometimes the main objective marker will show up, but sometimes it's so far away it shows up like a fucking tiny pixel, and I'm like, what? Really? You expect me to see that? Like, if you're far away from it, you'll get an arrow on your minimap, but the minimap is 2D, and you're trying to navigate this 3D environment in space where, you can go, vertically, and a lot of times you are asked to go on different axes. But yeah, so like there was especially at the end, I had a problem where I guess if you wanted, I don't know if there is a different ending for the game, but there were like some alternate or like additional objectives that you could complete if you wanted to. And before I like jumped into the escape vehicle, there were some other like objective markers, but I couldn't tell because the map was being shitty what direction to go in to see where the thing was. And I'm like, okay, I'm just like spinning around in circles. I'm just going to fucking end the game. Let's just end this because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. But yeah, I just wish they had kind of committed to one thing. It just felt like it was like there was two ideas kind of like fighting each other. How much of a video game do we make this, or how much do we focus on the story? And they kind of tried to meet in the middle, which I think is detrimental to the entire experience, because it was just, and like moving around this base is like kind of boring because you're just floating from one place to the other. And one of the main things that they do to try and, I guess, make it dangerous is that your oxygen is like constantly leaking, which is annoying and weird because it doesn't leak when you're like inside, when you're in an enclosed space. If you're out in open space, then it starts leaking, but not when you're in a half blown up like room, even though like the fucking fourth wall is just like exploded and we're looking out into open space. But if you're like sort of in a quote unquote interior space, like if you have a roof over you, then it doesn't leak. So I'm like, from a, I don't know, like a story perspective that seemed weird, or a gameplay perspective, like, okay. And then eventually, like most video games, you earn upgrades and, you know, you get to boost and fix your suit because it's been, you know, blown up. And the last upgrade that you get for your suit is the one that fixes it so it doesn't leak anymore. And I'm like, why couldn't you do that the first time, game? Like all the like upgrade stations look the same and they show all the same systems, but you know, just video game stuff. It just it doesn't, like, that video game framework and the story that they're telling doesn't like match up, and it's just like, it's a fine game, like it's well put together, but it's just, like I said, it's just uninteresting. Like I couldn't care about what was happening. It's just, my takeaway is that it's just real pretty to look at.
Yeah, but style with no substance. You get something like this where you're just like, I don't know. It sounds to me like it sounds like they didn't know what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
it sounds like they didn't know what they wanted out of this, like for it to be a game or more of an experience or something. But yeah, it sounds like they just didn't know.
Yeah, it was just like, again, too video gaming. I think, like, if they had, you know, not been married to having that kind of a structure to the game, like if it was just more organic around the story, then maybe, sure, I could see this working. But again, it was just not meant to be, I guess. Apparently, I found this out later, but this game kind of had an interesting backstory. I don't know if you've heard of Adam Orth, but I think he was the creative guy behind Adrift, and he had an interesting history. He kind of famously got fired from Microsoft because I think after the Xbox One announcement, he had gone on Twitter and said some stuff, because, you know, the whole internet was in an uproar about like the Xbox One needed to be online like 24/7.
Yeah, the DRM stuff. Yeah.
So he's kind of going on Twitter and basically saying like, hey, it's like the future. This is the way it is. Like, get used to it and stuff like that. And people got mad, and I think he had like back and forth with people online on Twitter, and I don't know how out of hand that got, but at least Microsoft deemed it that he needed to go. I don't know if it's only because of that, but that was kind of the onus, I think, for him leaving. And then this was the game that he made after leaving, and from what I read, it's like this was supposed to be sort of like autobiographical of like that happening, because
whoa,
yeah, if like, again, like a little bit of the backstory is like the captain or the commander of that space station was, you know, trying to do her best and, you know, trying to get the results that her managers or whatever were looking for, or the higher ups, and, you know, it went a little too far. And a disaster happened, and now it's like, you know, towards the end of the game, they kind of like pay lip service to like her coming back and trying to face everybody down there, like the families of all the people that were related to the people that on board that didn't survive, and, you know, trying to face the music and stuff like that. So that's supposed to be correlation, or correlates to Adam Orth's like the situation from being ousted from Microsoft and dealing with the repercussions. So I thought that was interesting, but again, like in the game, none of that really came through a lot, or they just did a terrible job with that. I thought could have been so much more, but it's a shame. That was, but yeah, that's Adrift. Very pretty. Might be worth checking out in VR, but yeah, It's not great. It's short though. That's maybe
sounds like the development of the game was just that. It was just a drift. It was
yes.
It's just it's just like, well, let's try to do something, and that's what the result was.
Yeah, basically that's what it was. But it is short. I mean, that's like another good thing about it. It was like, I think it took me like 4 hours to beat front to back. So
okay,
doesn't take a lot of time, but like. I think like the first hour in, just like floating from place to place, I was like, I don't want to play this anymore. I had some doubts. Enough. I almost like just quit. I was like, fuck this. I don't want to deal with it. I will say there are some annoying bits. Like floating around through space feels pretty good. Like the controls are all right, but the problem becomes when you get into like these tighter areas, and if you bump into stuff, it'll kind of knock you around in space, and it actually does damage to your suit, which I was not a fan of. I'm like, why is this a mechanic? This is dumb. I just want to go around and stuff. But sometimes being knocked around is like disorienting. It's annoying. I did get caught one time in a satellite, because there was a satellite that was like rotating with its huge ass solar panels, and I got pinned to the bottom of one of those solar panel wings. And
oh my God,
I was like, okay, this is my life now. I can't get out. This is fucked up. So I just reloaded the checkpoint and started over, because everything I did, I tried to boost out of it. I tried to like, maneuver out of it. Nope, you're here forever. I was like, okay, great. But yeah, like most of the time, like the moving around in space is fun. But yeah, like they also tie it to your oxygen level, so you're constantly trying to find these oxygen canisters that are floating out. But they're pretty generous with the locations of those, so you're never super in any danger. And I did realize pretty quickly, like, I'm in space. Inertia is my pal, so I can just boost up the speed and then let go of the trigger, because I'm just free floating. I don't have to worry, because I feel like the inclination is just to keep holding the thruster forward, to keep going forward, but it's like, we're in space, baby. I just go forever. So oxygen was never a problem for me, but yeah. Oh, also there is like a free mode that you can jump into. I don't know if that's accessible at the beginning of the game, but you can basically just, if you want to just roam around without having to worry about oxygen levels, you can do that too. And I was disappointed that you can't just fall into Earth. I wanted to burn up in the atmosphere, but I couldn't.
Just go all the way. Just find your way back the easy way.
Yep, but that is not an option, and you just kind of hit a level, and okay, you can't get closer to Earth anymore. And it's like, oh man, come on, it's No Man's Sky all over again. I just want to fly into the sun in No Man's Sky, and I just want to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere in the drift, and I can't. It's fucked up. Space games, you better like. There's a new standard to me. You got to do that. If I want to kill myself, let me do it. But yeah, that's well, maybe that's a drift, man.
I was going to say maybe Battlefront, maybe Star Wars Battlefront 2 would be a game that you could probably do that stuff in.
Yeah. I doubt it, but, here's hoping. I just want to burn up in a star or something, man. Come on, let it make it happen.
Don't worry. Maybe in time.
One day.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's pretty much what I've been playing.
Well, thanks. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I had to know. I just had to know.
No, it's okay. You satisfied your curiosity. So I've been playing a game, and that game is called Battle Chasers Nightwar. So I've been kind of talking about this game loosely for about a year. Maybe 2 years, because it's a game that was it's based off of a comic, and the comic's Battle Chasers, and the Battle Chasers comic has an amazing art style, and the game uses the same artist to do the in-game character designs and animations and stuff like that. And so they had a Kickstarter for this game, and I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah, I'll participate in this. So I helped kickstart the game. I bought, like a physical copy and they actually provided a Steam code for the game along with the physical copy that you bought. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I finally got to, well, I first played this game at, I want to say PAX.
Sounds right.
Yes, it was PAX. I first played this game at PAX. They had it there. They had a beta of it there, and I played it, and I was actually impressed. I was like, "Oh, okay, this, I thought the game would be like worse than what I had played." So I was pleasantly surprised. So I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I'm looking forward to it." Mm-hmm. And so the game finally comes out, and I start to play it, and I'm already familiar because I've already played it. I've had some playtime with it, and so this game is pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. It could be great if it just kind of, I don't know. I think it just needs a little something. I'm just not sure what that is, because the graphics are pretty good. I think it's just that everything is pretty good. It just doesn't like go above that level, and like the graphics are pretty good. The music is pretty good. Like the movement is pretty good. The battle system is pretty good. Like I think it's just that, it's just pretty. Everything is pretty good, so it averages out to pretty good. So this game is an RPG, and it's basic RPG fanfare. It's just you have characters, and you go to a town, and when you're in the town, they're like, hey, there's a dungeon over there. Can you take care of whatever's in the dungeon? You're like, sure. And you go to the dungeon, and then you go through the dungeon, and then you fight the enemies, and it's turn-based battle. The turn-based battle is kind of similar to, I would say, to, was it Final Fantasy X or X-2? Basically, the game where you could see the order in which the enemy.
That's 10.
That's 10. Okay. So yeah, it's basically kind of like that's kind of like the only similarity, but like that's there, so you can actually see the order in which the attacks will happen. So you can prepare accordingly, and then order will switch depending on what attack you select and all that stuff. So the gameplay is really, really, we've seen it all before. It's not bad. It's pretty good. They have some very interesting attacks with the battle system, and the battle system is the heart of every RPG besides the story. And so they have some pretty interesting like attacks and different properties with these attacks. So that's where the battle system is kind of like, okay, it's pretty good. And then the characters themselves are also pretty good. Like their designs are amazing, because I just, art style is fucking phenomenal. But the characters are all very different in their own way. Now, I haven't gotten the chance to use all of the characters. I think there are 6 characters that you can use total in this game. So you have your, it's funny, you start the game with 2 tanks, and you start the game with 2 tanks and a swordsman.
Okay.
And when I say a tank, you mean like a character that deals a lot of damage. But one of the tanks is this little girl with these gloves that are super destructive. But she inherited these gloves from her father, who is supposedly dead. But these gloves are super destructive, and anything she hits really fucking hard. But she's like 10 years old. But that's like so cool though. Like I like that. I like that she's also a tank, and she's basically your point character, like the main character in the story. And then you have another tank, almost a literal tank. It's a war golem. His name's Calibretto, and he's like, he's like a gunner, but he also hits really hard with physical attacks. And then you have a swordsman, Garrison, who is kind of like just a swordsman. But the thing that makes Garrison different is that Garrison can, when he deals damage, he can not only attack very quickly, but he also can inflict like small status effects on enemies. Like he can make every enemy bleed out.
Okay.
So with certain attacks, so if he hits an enemy, then he can like, inflict the bleed status, and then that'll just like siphon HP slowly, like every turn. So that could be, like, and I think it lasts the entire match, the entire fight. So Yeah, so there are like a little interesting quirks. Like Gully is the little girl. She can her thing is that she can basically hit an enemy, and when she hits an enemy, she can actually hit them so hard that she can automatically form a defense shield around herself or one of her allies by hitting them. And then Calabretto is actually the healer. Like, he has all of like the healing spells, but he's also long range and short range if need be. So he's versatile, and he has one of the most useful skills. So I haven't gotten the chance to use the magic user yet, Nolan. And there's another gunner that you get, Red Monica. And then there's the sixth character, which I've never seen before because the comics didn't make it that far.
Oh, damn.
to introduce this sixth character. So I'm eager to get him to see what his deal is. I guess he was planned to be in the series later on, but yeah, didn't happen.
Oh, I was under the impression this thing was ongoing, but I guess not.
No. The Battle Chasers only had 10 issues. And unfortunately, the character designer, the artist for the comic, was very inconsistent. So, like, there was like several points where I think like issues 4, 5, and 6 they were like years apart.
Wow.
So yeah, like I think between 4 and 5 it was like a whole year you had to wait, and then 5 and 6 was also like a whole year. But then 7, 8, and 9 came out like almost bi-monthly. Like it was like really quick, and then that was it. They had an issue 0, so that's where the 10 issues come from. But yeah, the game is pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it. I found myself like wanting to play more of it. The only thing I kind of don't like about it is that it drags a lot, like with the dungeon crawling.
Oh,
like the dungeons I think are a little too large, like to the point where you have to. It's kind of like in Persona where you're in a dungeon and the dungeons are so big that, you can't do it all in one day. Well, supposedly you can't do it all in one day. Of course you can, but if you really want to, if you really try. But in this game, it's in Persona, at least you have an ability to just like leave the dungeon or go back to the entrance and, go save and do all your stuff and build up some more before you go back in and continue from a certain point. Whereas with this game, that whole like backtracking, that whole fast traveling and backtracking isn't there. So if you go through a dungeon, you kill enemies while you're in the dungeon, and you keep going through the dungeon, but when you kill these enemies, like, there's almost no way of healing outside of using Calabretto's special ability, like while you're roaming, which is healing, but you can only use that ability 6 times. And Gully's ability is pounding the ground, which either stuns enemies or breaks walls. And Garrison's ability is kicking things, so he can like kick doors open or something like that. So, but you can only use these a limited amount of times before you just can't do it anymore.
Jeez.
So you go through these very large dungeons, and you're like, all right, I'll go through this super large dungeon, but with the enemies that you fight and abilities that you run out of and item use, then after a while you just can't go through it anymore. So you basically have to go all the way back. Like there's no fast travel option to just like travel back to the beginning or something, or just leave it. So you have to go all the way back to the beginning and then run all the way back to the inn to rest up and do all of that stuff.
Jeez.
And yeah, so it's like that makes it drag so much. And I'm like, God damn it, they really needed to fix that. And another thing that's really weird, it's not a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing. It's really weird that a way that you can heal, like say you're really low on health and mana magic in this game, there's technically a way that you can heal fully, and that's by leveling up. So they're basically saying like, go through it, just fight through the pain, and if you happen to level up, whatever character levels up, they'll give you all of like the stat increases that'll like like carry over, and you'll have like all your health and all of your magic back. So it's like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't think that's that's something that should be in the game in that fashion. You know, like just put the stat increase proportionate to however much health or magic you have left. Mm-hmm. And that's usually how most RPGs deal with it. But yeah, the game is not bad. I'm really eager to play the other 3 characters because I want to know what they're like.
Yeah.
I think the way the game is formatted, it looks like you can only control 3 characters at a time. Maybe 4, I don't know, but definitely not all 6. So I got to see like how this all works out. But I was a big fan of the comic. I'm a big fan of the artist. Met him at Comic-Con a couple of times. He's a nice guy. Mm-hmm. I just wish he was more consistent with his comics because, god damn it, waiting an entire year for an issue, that's like, that's ridiculous. But
let me sell you on A Song of Fire and Ice because that's...
Shit. I mean, it's still not done. I mean, the 5th book came out like in 2011? 2012?
Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, like, dude, it's been 6 years and the 6th book has there's no sign of it showing up at all.
Yeah. But actually, what is the story like? Is it a retelling of the comic books or is this like something new?
Good question. So, it's kind of a little of both, but definitely more of a new story in its own right.
Okay.
So the reason why I say it's kind of a little bit of both is that the story is basically that, okay, the story starts off pretty much the same as the comic. Like there's this legendary hero. His name is Aramis, and this guy, and Aramis is Gully's father, who used the gauntlets to protect the kingdom or whatever. So Aramis goes missing and is presumed dead, but he leaves Gully the gauntlets in a treasure chest, and she finds them and she puts them on, and once she puts them on, she kind of goes apeshit. And Garrison, who was like Aramis's right-hand man, has to like stop her, and so he calms her down, he stops her, but then he starts to protect her, and then he starts telling her that, those gauntlets are a birthright, and you need to learn how to use them properly. So, I'm going to train you, and I'll be your guard, and I'm just going to train you, but it's not going to be easy. And so throughout their adventures, they find Calibretto, who is a war golem who is pretty much shut down, and they revive him. Well, Nolan revives him, the magic user. He revives him with electricity, and Calibretto is very, very kind-hearted, and he's like a big teddy bear, like every time he wins in a fight, like birds fly on top of him, and he just strokes one of the birds. It's like he's very, very kind robot. So
he's the Bastion.
Yeah, basically. So Nolan and Garrison and Gully and Calibretto go on their adventures, and they encounter Red Monica, she's like the rogue of the group. Like one day she's your friend, one day she's your enemy, and all of that stuff. She betrays the team so many times, but she's always like comes back to save their ass at the last minute, depending on what they get into. Mm-hmm. Anyway. The game that's pretty much so what they're trying to do in this game is where it kind of deviates. What they're trying to do is that they've already been established as a team. Apparently, the 5 of them. That 6th character is still kind of like off to the side. I haven't seen anything of him, but the 5 of them are on their merry adventures, and then they get separated by this force of nature. It's not exactly nature. It's just like this monster, big monster. They don't know. They can't see it. They don't know what it is. It's too large. So they're flying in this. They have a flying airship, like in Final Fantasy.
Right.
The artist is a big fan of Final Fantasy. So there's actually a lot of references to it in this game and in the comic. They get separated by this thing, and pretty much the point right now of the game is to find your allies, to, you know, find your separated allies. And I'm assuming that the other side of things is that the allies are trying to find you and blah, blah. And that's pretty much where we're at right now. I haven't gotten through much of the story to kind of see what more there is, but I'm assuming that's just get the characters all back together, and then something will happen. I don't know. So
okay.
So, but the comic, so it starts off the same as the comic, but it deviates almost immediately. So yeah, good question. But yeah, it's kind of both, but more or less it's different. It's a new story, and actually, this game is supposed to be like what the comic would have been if like it didn't stop,
right?
You know, so yeah, because like in the comic they were never established as a team. The only people that were together always were Gully, Calabretto, and Nolan. Like Calabretto and Nolan were like so tight, like super close. And then when Gully came along, Calabretto started to gravitate towards her, and so then the three of them were together. Garrison was almost never with them in the comics. Like he was on his own path. Like his whole deal is that his wife was killed. He's a swordsman. He was a swordsman, but he decided to give up the way of the sword to have a nice, peaceful family life. And his wife was killed by these soldiers from a warring faction, a rival faction, and you know, he vowed never to take up the sword again because the way of the sword was too destructive. Like he's like a total badass with the sword and all that stuff. So
John Wick, got it.
With a sword, yeah. Yeah, with a sword. But I urge people to read the comic. I mean, and the story might not be your thing. It's very fantasy based, but it's a little convoluted in its own right with it being a fantasy story. But I just for the art is amazing. Amazing art. And like, I think like, to me, like second best artist ever, like in comics. Like I think first is like Jim Lee, and then second is Joe Mad, which is Joe Madureira, who draws Battle Chasers and who did the character designs and animations for this game. And yeah, just so pretty, super pretty to look at. And man, they had some crazy splash pages on there too. The character designs for some of the villains, and I'm also waiting to see some of the villains that they had in the comics make reappearances in this game, because I know they do. I fucking know they do. Like there's this one girl who kind of looks like Storm, but from the X-Men, but she's kind of like down and out. But if you anger her enough, well, not anger her. If you get close to her, there's this spirit inside her who is like the spitting image of like what Satan has been portrayed as, like in books.
Okay.
You know, like this like red horns, huge, muscular. The spirit, like if you get close enough to her, this spirit like comes out, and it's like a huge fucking spirit, and it pretty much like destroys everything in its path. And when it destroys, it also takes people's souls. So it's like, I want to see that villain make an appearance, and it's just crazy.
Makes sense. That's what the devil does.
But yeah, man. So that's another reason why I'm pretty much playing this game still, because it's in its own right a spiritual successor to the comic.
Yeah.
And I just love that comic so much. God damn, it's so pretty.
How much of like playing this is just catharsis? Because I'm picking up like a heavy, like almost Firefly / Serenity vibe, because
it
ended
is very
early.
very much. It's very much of it is catharsis. Yeah.
Okay.
Very much of it, because I think if it wasn't for the fact, if it was just a game I just picked up, I don't think I'd continue it very, very much. I would be like, this game is it's kind of like, it's all right. It's not like good. Well, it's not great. It's good. It's not great. It's not bad, but it's just all right. It's like, but I know these characters. I know this world that they're trying to set up, and they've even redesigned the characters for this game. And
okay.
you know, I like a lot of that is because I love the comic so much just because of the art. God, it was so fucking good. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, yeah, I definitely probably wouldn't play this game. I wouldn't give this game more than like a day or two. So
okay.
Yeah, because it's very, very standard RPG formula we've all seen before. There's nothing new in that regard, and there's actually some issues with it that should be fixed. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's I think I'm done talking about Battle Chasers, or gushing about the comic at least. So, but yeah, that's been Battle Chasers Nightwar. Would I recommend it? Sure. If you're a fan of it, more if you're a fan of the comic than anything, or if you're a fan of the artist than anything, because he's done some other stuff. Like he's done, well, Uncanny X-Men is like where he got his big break, and then he moved on to do the creator-owned project Battle Chasers.
Darksiders, don't forget that.
Darksiders, yeah, he did Darksiders. He also did the Ultimates for a little while. He did the Ultimates Volume 3. Where you got to see him draw a lot of like Marvel characters where you're like, oh shit. He also did oh god, what was it called? Was it the Astonishing Spider-Man?
I don't know.
Or it was a Spider-Man book. It was a Spider-Man book that he did. I think he only did like 3 or 4 issues of it, but it was straight up Joe Mad Spider-Man, and I'm like, I had to pick this up. So, but I have it digitally. But yeah, so yeah, but he's done a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of great stuff, and his art is phenomenal.
Yeah, I was first exposed to his art when he was doing magazine covers for PlayStation magazine.
PSN. Yeah, for remember PSM?
Hell
Shit,
yeah,
man.
Fucking
yeah, man.
Lid stickers.
Yep,
best.
Yep. Yeah, he did. He also did like Legacy of Kain covers. He did a Legacy of Kain cover. I remember that cover. That cover was sick.
All his covers were like the best. Like they had other artists that were doing, but none were like on his level.
Yeah, even he did. So Wizard. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Wizard, but Wizard did a. They did like a. It was like a. I think it was like 100th issue extravaganza, and they basically had like a bunch of like different like popular artists at the time do like their renditions of like, you know, pop culture comic book characters or cartoon characters. So he has a drawing of the Ninja Turtles. Fucking awesome. Yeah. Oh my god. Like if you Google that image of Joe Mad Ninja Turtles, you'll see what I fucking mean. Yo. Okay. Fucking sick. Like, holy shit. It was so awesome. But that picture was like my cover photo on Facebook for like years because it was so awesome. So I got to pull that image up again. But yeah, like he's dope. He also did like a Superman Batman. There was like a Superman. There was like a when Batman Superman was a comic. Like a long time ago, like I think 2009, 2010. Like it was actually, I think it was like 2007, 2008. But Batman Superman was a comic. It was a really good comic as well, but it only had like at the time, I think it was only like 10 issues in, and they did like, again, it was kind of like an artist extravaganza. Like they had like different artists do like 1 or 2 pages in the book, you know, just like little short stories. And he did a Superman Batman story. Like he drew Superman and Batman. I'm like, yo, fucking, you're kidding me right now. Superman and Batman, Joe Mad, yo, give me all of that. So yeah, his art is serious, but yeah. I going back, I would recommend this game pretty much only if you're a fan of the comic. If not, I'd say you can. There are games that do this formula a lot better. So,
okay.
So yeah, but all right. So
surprised we delved into so much mediocrity this episode.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I think it was just like after Comic-Con, I think we just needed to just kind of calm down with like, we weren't sure what we were getting into, but it just turned out to be mediocre games.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, mediocre games. So I'm just thinking like good games, bad games, and just mediocre games, middle games. No, but so okay, that's it. That's it. I'm done. We're done talking about what we've been playing. So we're gonna move on into headlines, and before we do, you should go to innercitygeeks.com where you should follow along with us. So first up, this news has been a long time coming. And surprised that it took this long, but Street Fighter V is coming out with an arcade edition next year. So the arcade edition for Street Fighter V includes new modes such as arcade mode.
What's that? What?
Yo,
fighting game with an arcade mode? What year is this?
Yeah, I know. So they finally caught up with the times they have. So they're going to have a new arcade mode. They're also going to have an extra battle mode. And they are going to also add new elements to the game, like bonus stages in the arcade modes, and new V triggers for every character. So they're also gonna do like a new gallery, and the UI for the game is going to be completely redesigned. There are some pictures that show the UI here. I don't know. What do you think about the UI? Because I kind of don't like this. I don't like this one. I like the other one a lot better than this.
I like how they say like this is a brand new UI, but like the main menu is just the same exact main menu with just the new color scheme.
Different color scheme.
Like all right, okay, but no, I mean there is some new stuff like the CA meter and the V trigger meter are a little different.
Yeah, they're different. They pop a little more.
Yeah, when you have full life, it's like all gold for your health bar, and then it goes back to like the green and yellow and probably red and all that. But I don't know. Yeah, like some of it is okay. Like I know for the stage select, they highlight what the stage is a lot better. So I like that change, but
yeah, I saw that.
I think I prefer the original character select screen with like the globe in the background, because now just like it looks too flashy. Like they're trying a little too hard because there's all like these just like stage lights in the background, and I don't know. I don't love the look. I kind of prefer the old one.
It seems like the character select look like it seems like it's like swallows up the characters now. Like you're just like it's too much.
Yeah. But there is a lot of gold now. I don't know. Like it's like fine, I guess. Like in game, like some of the changes are really minor once you're like playing the game. I don't know how else. Like they didn't show off like the beginning of the round, and the fight font is a little different. I think gold as well, but
yeah, it's also gold.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. New coat of paint. It's not a huge departure. It's fine.
Well. And also in other good news, I guess you could say. So, God. So the question of DLC. So DLC characters. So they're going to release a physical copy of this game. And the good news for early adopters of the game, most people who have it, all people who have it, that you'll be able to upgrade to the arcade edition for free.
Yeah, it'll come as just a free update.
Yeah. Yeah, the physical copy of this game is going to be $39.99, and only the physical copy of this game will come out with all of the DLC characters up to date. So, let's say that you are an early adopter of this game and you upgraded to the arcade edition, you will not be getting any DLC characters that you don't already have, because you still got to pay for them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you pay for the physical copy, which actually has a better value than all of those, all of the DLC characters, then you'll have all of the DLC characters up to date. I'm not sure if that include. Well, actually by this point, I think the last DLC character for season 2 will be out. So yeah.
I don't know that it is actually just the physical version. I assume there might be a digital version of Arcade Edition as well, and it would be the same deal. You just get all.
Oh yeah, well okay, yeah, true. If it's a new package, if it's like you're getting a new package digitally or physically, then you would also get all of the DLC characters. But if you already have the game in some way, shape, or form and you upgrade it, you will not get any DLC characters you don't already have, because their whole thing is like, oh, you can get them with fight money. So, but it's like, God damn it, fight money is so fucking hard to come by. Until now, apparently, because they say that they're going to add a myriad of new ways to earn fight money in this game. And then you can just use that newly earned fight money to get the characters that you don't already have. And the arcade mode, speaking of that, is also different in a way. Now, apparently you can play the game. I think they took a very, very, very big tip from Tekken 7, but you can play the game. You can play the arcade mode based off of an older game. So if you want to play the arcade mode styled like the original Street Fighter, you can play it that way. Or Street Fighter 2, you can play it that way. Street Fighter Alpha, and so on and so forth, which is kind of interesting.
Doesn't change the graphics or anything. It's just you're playing.
No. You're just playing the same format.
Well, you're playing against the characters in Street Fighter 5 that are from those games.
Right. Yeah, and the format is more or less the same. So I'm assuming if you play like Street Fighter 2, the Street Fighter 2 arcade mode, then you're going to play against, the original 8.
Or whoever's of the 7 is in there.
Yeah, and then right. And then you're also going to fight against, Boxer and Bison and Balrog and Vega and no Sagat though. I think that'd be fine.
I mean, it might confirm that Sagat's coming season 3.
That's another thing.
Because the Street Fighter 1 path is going to be pretty light if Sagat is not in there.
You're right. Like, who would the final boss be? But yeah, so apparently it's also been heavily teased that Sagat is going to be in the game somehow. Like he's going to be playable. Like it's almost a sure thing. And I'm pretty sure he might be the first character added for season 3. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that. But most likely Sagat is coming back big time. So, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think about all of the stuff that's been announced? Are you excited? I mean, it's a free upgrade, so it's no sweat off anybody's back who already has the game.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm kind of glad they finally did it, because I've spoken to at least one person that was asking me like, hey, should I get Arcade Edition? Is it like a good buy? And I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, if you've somehow still been on the fence about Street Fighter 5, like, Arcade Edition is
the one to get.
It's the perfect in, yeah. And which is good because, it came out, like when it came out, there was a lot of like bad things that were said about the game. It didn't have a lot of things or a lot of features that people wanted. And now those features are in the game. So it's a good message to everybody. Like, okay, hey, we know we fucked up in the beginning. Now it's safe to come in, which hopefully is good. Maybe to inject some more, life into Street Fighter 5, which, I mean, it seems to be doing okay, but, there's still all that negativity around the game because, high level players don't love it for whatever reasons.
No, they don't. They really don't.
Yeah. I still enjoy playing the game. Street Fighter 5 is good in my book, but yeah, I'm excited about the changes. I don't know. There was some, I think some rumors that I forget what he's called. X-Kira is the guy. He was kind of like data mining the game. Yeah. And there might be like secondary critical arts as well in the games. It's like, how much more is there left to reveal?
I hope so. I mean, yeah, he's been he or she. I think it's a he. But yeah, they've been revealing a lot of stuff. Like a lot of stuff, and most of it has been confirmed. But one of the biggest things that hasn't been confirmed is like, oh, Super Street Fighter 5 is coming, and that like season 3, all the characters for season 3, here they are, and it's like, all right, just.
I don't know. I still don't think that's gonna, like, again, I kind of believed them when they said in the beginning there's never gonna be a Super Street Fighter 5. So I'm gonna take them at their word there. I guess if there were a Super Street Fighter 5, this would be the equivalent, because Yeah. Like, this is good because it's not like splintering all the Street Fighter V players. You know, like everyone is going to be able to play the game involved the same way. You get access to the new like gameplay stuff. It's just, you know, we suffer from early adopter syndrome with which every other fighting game suffers from. Like, you buy the first copy of the game and then a year or a couple months later, the new version comes out with all the DLC characters in one package. Yep. So
yeah, this would be the equivalent of that. Like, this is like, yeah. Yeah, they at least the patch is free for everyone who already has the game, you know.
Yeah, but I just want to know more at this point. Like, all we have right now are screenshots of like some of the new V triggers, and you can't really glean a lot from just a single screenshot. Like, reuse almost looks like it's a focus attack from Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, it is pretty much is. Yeah,
but yeah, I'm super hyped. I want more Street Fighter. Let's go.
All right. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the release date is January of next year. January 26th, I believe, of next year.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
do all the major stuff after Capcom Cup.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for Arcade Edition. That's definitely good news. It took them long enough, but
again, they're kind of like they had their hands tied with Capcom Cup, so they have to schedule around that.
Yeah. But in other Capcom news, so let's move to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite revealed the other two, or at least gameplay for the other two, for two more, I should say, not the other two more DLC characters that were pretty much already seen, not really leaked because they were in-game models for the characters in the game itself. So they released gameplay of Black Panther and Sigma, and there's a trailer for the two of them, you know, as a team fighting and doing their thing. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, I'm kind of digging Black Panther. I'm always digging Black Panther, but he seems kind of odd. Like, he seems like very, I don't know, input heavy. Like, the game itself is input heavy, but it's like you have to like basically like dash to like different sections of the screen in order to continue combos. And I'm like, ooh, I hope that dash input is not like pretty specific, because that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, so Black Panther, I think he looks pretty cool. I definitely want to try him. I just don't want to pay. And then Sigma, they reverted Sigma back to his Mega Man X1 form, which I'm always cool with, the lightsaber. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty awesome. So he looks pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of him as a fighter, but I like the look, and I like where he's from, and I'm willing to give it a shot. I just don't want to pay. So
what a dilemma you have.
Yeah. So yeah, they're comparing him to Zero and Thanos as far as Sigma's style. So slower Zero, stronger Zero, faster Thanos, and yeah. But anyway, so you can look forward to the other two more DLC characters. The fourth DLC character we all know is Venom. I'm not sure if they're going to release any input on him anytime soon.
Okay.
But the 3 DLC characters will be available actually next week, next Tuesday. So, yeah, if you're eager to pick them up. Their premium costumes will also be available that day. You got to pay for the costumes too. Fucking God damn it. But
Black Panther or Money in My Pocket? Black Panther or Money in My Pocket? I don't know. It's a tough choice.
Or just wait for the I don't know, the the cinematic Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I don't know what they're gonna call it. What they're gonna call the prefix for this game this time, the pretext. I mean, but yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. So what do you think about that? Do you care? Probably not.
I mean, yeah, I have no skin in the Marvel vs. Capcom game right now. Again, I very much look forward to Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite with everything included after the fact.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at.
So, all right, fair enough. So, moving on. So, I remember we talked about the Nintendo World Championships. I think it was a few weeks ago or even last week. And so that was a thing. It happened already. And the first article that we have here is actually showing the live stream of the championships. And the secondary article for this is the results of the winner of the Nintendo World Championships. Now, I don't know if you watched any of it. Thought it was pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say that I thought the way they ended it was really cool. Because I don't know if you ever watched that movie. Goddamn, it was a movie called The Wizard.
Yeah.
I think it was called The Wizard or The Wiz. No, not The Wiz. That's The Wizard of Oz.
That's The Wizard
thing. But it was a movie with Fred Savage and this autistic kid and this girl that was with them. And this kid was like mad good at video games, like crazy good. This kid was probably like 7 or 8 years old and he was crazy good at video games. And they were like making their way through these video game tournaments and they wind up at like the World Championships. And I think that's kind of like where this whole thing like got started. Like it was based off of that movie. And at the end of that movie, they play for the, like, no one's ever played this game at this point in time. The game isn't even out yet, like in regular stores, but they play Super Mario Brothers 3 and they play the first level of it and they have to like the kid has to play the game like no one's ever played the game before and they basically had to get the best time in the game. So the kid like gets the best time to reach the end of the level. Like he finds warps and all this stuff. And then he wins the tournament. And so with this Nintendo World Championships, what happened is that they kind of did something similar where they had all of these players. Well, they had the two finalists, not all these players, the two finalists play Super Mario Odyssey and a level that no one's ever played before in any build. So I thought that was pretty awesome. What did you think about that?
I think that was very cool. I didn't get a chance to see any of that myself, but yeah, the fact that they went and did that, and it I don't know, feels true to like the spirit of an event like that, the World Championships, and yeah, you get to play a fucking new Mario game before anybody else, and something that no one else has ever done before. It's fucking dope.
I think it was taken straight from that. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I don't know I just thought it was really awesome, and a lot of things that they did were really interesting.
Yeah, I scrubbed through some of the beginning and saw some of like the early things that they did for the competition. Like they had the little shield surfing thing in Breath of the Wild, and they had like a little chase sequence in Samus Returns. So yeah, there were some like decently like fun and creative stuff that was in there. It wasn't like your typical like esports and very serious thing. They had fun with it, which I was glad for.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. The semifinal, the runner up was actually the champion of the last Nintendo World Championship.
Oh, so wow.
I thought it was pretty cool. Like, I don't think it was like a bye. I think like he had to actually fight his way back up. Like he had to fight his way to that point, like he wasn't like, he was like, oh, you won, so you can just wait till the end. But that wasn't the case. So, but ultimately he is the runner-up now. Thomas Gonda of Oakland, California, is the new champion of the Nintendo World Championship. And he will hold the title, I believe, for the next 2 years because they're doing this every other year. So, congratulations to him. But I thought this was pretty cool. So, if anyone's interested in watching the stream, go for it. Watch everything, and I think it's really cool. I think it's really awesome. Now, get ready to feel really bad about yourself because. So I talked about playing Cuphead last week, and Cuphead is a very, very difficult game. It's hard. And I gotta say, I figured like speedrunners would like completely obliterate the game, destroy the game. And then there was one speedrunner who just made me say, why do I even try? What's the point of all of this? What am I doing with my life? So there's a speedrunner who beat Cuphead, who beat every single boss in Cuphead, even the optional ones, I believe, using DDR pads. That's right. He used Dance Dance Revolution pads to beat every single boss in Cuphead. And he has a speedrun time. His time is like, I think, what is it, like 6th place out of 8? No, sorry, 16th place out of the top 20 speedrunning times. That's pretty goddamn impressive, if I do say so myself. So, I mean, I feel really bad about myself. What do you think about this?
First of all, I'm really impressed by his DDR setup. Like, he's using the fucking arcade. It's not like a little flimsy little pad that he folds out or whatever. He's using the arcade DDR, like, floorboard.
Yeah.
With the handles and everything.
Yeah.
This man means business. Also, get good, bro. Like, he can beat it with his fucking feet, man. Why can't you beat it with your fucking hands?
Yo. Cuphead is mad hard.
How hard could it be, man? He's playing with his fucking feet, man.
All right. So to be fair, it says that it took him about 6 hours of practice to like get the movement down so that he can like do it and have the coordination.
Yeah.
So 6 hours is a long time to practice in the game, especially a game that frustrating.
Yeah.
So he, I give him all the credit. I do. I'm just hating right now, but god damn it, like out of the top 20 speedrun times, he has 16th place with just his feet.
Nice. And that's like against other people playing with their hands. With the controllers and stuff?
Yes, with controllers.
That's amazing.
Or maybe even keyboard and mouse. I don't know how some people play, but but yeah. Top he's top, he's in the top 20 with just his feet.
Nice.
Fuck. Yeah, but he says that basically like he couldn't resist a game like Cuphead with its style and with the insanely hard boss battles, like he couldn't resist, so he had to give it a shot. So
that's awesome.
He did, and he was able to actually clock in a speed run time.
I hope this is like the next like version of Crota from the first Destiny, where people just they thought of every single way they could to beat that thing, like rock band drums and shit. Like, I hope something similar happens. Like, let's bust out the Dreamcast Vision controller. Let's see if we can beat Cuphead with that.
Let's bust out the Donkey Konga drums, man.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm sure people still have that shit.
I'm sure they do. Samba de Amigo maracas, let's go, baby.
Yo, Samba de Amigo. Oh my god. But yeah, I feel awful. I feel awful. I am like having a really hard time with that game, and this dude's like, yeah, I'll just do it with my feet. I'm like, oh, okay.
Should give you some proper motivation, Frank.
I gotta try harder.
Yep.
That's all. There is no try. You just do.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, so okay, enough of me feeling horrible. So Blizzard's Battle.net got some new upgrades. They added a new feature to their social tab, and basically now you can voice chat, and you can also have social channels. Kind of like a pretty well-known desktop app popular with gamers called Discord. It's very similar. It's very similar to it.
I may have heard of this.
Yes. But apparently this is something that they're trying to move forward with. And one of the good things about it is that it has really good integration. Unfortunately, with like Discord for one thing, Discord lets people sync up Steam accounts to show like what's going on, kind of like trophy, like a trophy viewing or a player gamer score viewing in like Xbox One or PSN.
Well, it just really shows like what your friends are playing when they're on Steam or
when they're on.
They also Discord actually does have Battle.net linking as well, so you can link up your Steam and Battle.net account. So you can all that stuff is there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but yeah, so basically there's just been like some new stuff added to Battle.net, and like I said, voice, text chat through the app. You can also do private comm channels for groups with private DMs, and you can also set up personalized avatars now.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically want it so that you can use the app to communicate easier when playing like WoW or Overwatch. And yeah, it's in beta right now. And you can opt in to the beta if you want without any invitation. You can just go check out the blog post about the new Battle.net beta.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, what do you think about this? This might be something that you might be able to use.
Yeah, especially with Destiny 2 around the corner for PC. Mm-hmm. Might be something I make some use of. But yeah, like Blizzard has had some basic functionality of this, but it looks like they're just kind of building it out more. Like you could do voice chat in like private channels on Battle.net or, text messages like DMs, like what they were explaining. But I don't know, like just looking at the screenshot here, it looks like they're building that out more of like, more of like a Discord. Like you can get groups going and get them to join in, and holy shit, you can set your fucking Battle.net avatar, because you can't do that now, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And I guess related to this, they also launched a mobile app for Battle.net so that you could message people from on the go on your device and get, invitations and other stuff like that. I don't know if voice chat works on the mobile app, but you can definitely do text chat in there. So that's cool. So you can keep track of like your Battle.net buddies wherever you are. You don't have to be on your desktop to do it. So I don't know. It feels like it's catching up with some of the other like services like the PSNs and the Xboxes, because they also have like those the mobile apps and better communication tools inside there. Even though again they had some level of communication in the existing Battle.net client, but it's cool that they're keeping up with the times, as it were.
Yep, and that is all correct.
Mm-hmm.
I hope. I mean, I'm sure they'll be able to build it out a whole lot more, especially with the popularity of their games. They're gonna have to.
They have the money. They have the means for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. So the last bit of news that we have is about Hitman, Alex's favorite game of like 2016, I believe.
No, sir, it was close. But it did.
It was third place or second place. I remember your favorite game was Picross.
Hell yeah, Picross 3D Round 2. Yeah. Greatest game on the 3DS.
All right, arguably, yeah.
Hey, you come back to me after you play it and you let me know.
I will. I have yet to start it up, but so with Hitman, so IO's been supporting the game pretty frequently since they split with Square Enix, and things apparently are going to be different this month though, because they have a teased date of October 24th. Something's going to happen October 24th, and they're saying that that's the date that we will reveal brand new content for the game. But they said that they're going to let the announcement itself do all the talking. And they also said that they just want to take note. They want everyone to take note that this upcoming content is not quote unquote season 2 of Hitman. So they said we're saying that now to keep expectations in check.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know more about this game than I do. What do you think this could possibly be?
I have no idea. Mainly because I don't know because I know after release they've been supporting the game pretty well with like different contracts and the elusive targets, I think they were called. I don't know if they stopped doing that. I don't know if they kept going with it or if it like was on hiatus or whatever, especially with, the game being in limbo for like, do they still own it, and the whole Square Enix debacle where they were dropping IO Interactive. So I don't know the state of the game now. Like, I don't know if there's still like content coming out for it in that way with the elusive contacts or elusive contracts specifically. So I don't know if this is them revamping that or if this is, again, them saying it's not season 2. I'm not expecting new maps. That's the main thing. So I'd assume it's just them like maybe recycling existing content. I don't know, maybe even like redressing some of the existing maps, because they've done that for season 1 as well. Like they've like redone some of the other maps. Like one of the, like I think the Italian Sapienza was one of the early maps, and they redid that as part of season 1 and made it like part of a movie set, and it changed a lot of that map. Like a lot of areas were different, and there were different things to interact with and stuff like that. So I don't know if, again, I don't know if it's going to be even that crazy. I think it might just be they're reusing a bunch of the stuff they have already made for season 1. But what that is specifically, I don't know. And maybe it's just more elusive contracts. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I'm excited either way because Hitman is still alive.
Yeah. Gives you a chance to pick it up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I actually might want to. It's available on Steam, right?
Yeah, it's available Steam, PS4, Xbox One, all the cool stuff.
I might be picking it up on the Steam.
Yeah.
So that will actually do it for this week with headlines, and we're going to move into new and upcoming releases, which Alex will take us through. So go ahead and tell us what we have to look forward to.
So yeah, this week, the week of October 10th. First up, we got Middle-earth: Shadow of War.
Oh shit, that's a big one.
Is now out for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. If you're on PC, I hope you have 100 gigs available because that's how big that download is.
Yeah. God damn it.
Shit.
Why?
Holy shit.
That's a lot of data.
4K textures, man. They take up a lot of space, bro.
Yeah, I'm about that 4K life a little bit.
Oh, man. You heard about that Shelob controversy? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. I don't know. I'm just glad I'm not a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings franchise, so it doesn't bother me that much, but I'm curious how, like, hardcore people feel about that.
I'm sure they hate it.
I'm sure they do. But do they hate it enough not to get this game?
Probably not.
Continuing on the list, we have also this week Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, Episode 4, Who Needs You, is now out for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Also, Always Sometimes Monsters is out this week for PlayStation 4. Cyber Dimension Neptunia 4 Goddesses Online for PlayStation 4. Danger Zone is out for the Xbox One. Echo is out for PlayStation 4. Fort Defense is available for PlayStation 4. Raid World War II is now out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Radial G Racing Revolved for PlayStation VR. Raw Data VR is making its way to the PlayStation VR. It's already been out on one of the other PC VR platforms, and I hear lots of good things about Raw Data. The Invisible Hours is also out for PlayStation VR. We've also got Raiden 5 Director's Cut for the PlayStation 4. Tiny Barbarian DX is out for the Switch. Wolver Blade is out for the Switch. Yano and the Celestial Elephants is now out for the Switch and PC. Revolve is available for PlayStation 4. Semispheres is out for the Vita. And Stereo Aereo is out for PlayStation 4. And this week, on Friday, we've got a couple of releases. It being Friday the 13th. We've got Friday the 13th, the game, the physical edition, for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That is fantastic that worked out that way.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th on in October, and you get the Friday the 13th game. Holy shit. It's a perfect...
What's happening?
I don't know. To continue with the horror theme, The Evil Within 2 is also going to be out on Friday the 13th for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. The scariest of all games, WWE 2K18 Deluxe Edition, will be out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Like, why is that the scariest?
I don't know. I just want to keep going with that theme. I will note the Deluxe Edition, like many other Deluxe Editions now, is you just pay more to play earlier. It's out on Tuesday next week. So if you can wait, just buy the normal version.
3 days, yeah.
Also out on Friday the 13th is White Noise 2 for the PlayStation 4, as well as Bad Apple Wars for the Vita, and finally Dungeons 3 for the PC. And that will wrap it up for all our new releases and stuff for the week. Actually, you know what? I lied. I'm going to mention too, because we didn't mention it yet, but the Overwatch Halloween event is happening now. And there's some dope skins in there. I'm going to play Overwatch again. Just
You need to stop.
I can't.
You need to stop. Just stop.
Dude.
Just don't do it.
They have a Cthulhu Zenyatta. How can I not get that?
Oh, that's really cool.
That is fucking dope.
You need to stop.
No, I can't.
You need to stop.
It's a good game.
Stop doing this to yourself. No, it's a great game.
Fantastic.
It's a fantastic game.
I promise I won't buy any more loot boxes. I can't. I won't do it until maybe the end of the event, and I don't get my Cthulhu Zenyatta yet.
There it is.
I can stop anytime I want, Frank.
Sure. Okay.
I just don't want to stop. But that's all I have to say on the matter.
All right. So thank you for that. And that means we are done with this episode. So before we officially go, we would like you to visit InnerCityGeeks.com, which is where we're located, where we have a bunch of stuff sometimes regarding everything geek. You can listen to our episodes on and or subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's called Good Games Podcast. And we have older episodes on there as well that you can listen to. So that's just another place that you can listen to the good stuff, the good games. And you can also listen to us. You can also listen to us on iTunes, where you can leave us a review. And it's the best thing you could do for us. Just let us know what you think of the show, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. Just leave us some sort of rating so we know how we're doing. You can listen to us on Stitcher Radio. And you can basically listen to us where all podcasts are available to be listened to. I also want to encourage everyone that if you're going to do any kind of Amazon shopping, to go to InnerCityGeeks.com first and click on that Amazon banner on the right-hand side of the page. When you do that, it'll take you right over to Amazon and then buy whatever it is that you were going to buy. And then when you do a little bit of that, we'll come back towards us so we can provide more show and more content just for you. You can reach us on all the social media outlets, mainly Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Inner City Geeks. The Twitter for this show is at Good Game Podcast, because we can't fit the S because of character limitations. And you can also email us at goodgamespodcast@gmail.com. And we actually do check our emails. So yeah, you can email us and we'll answer back. So that's gonna about do it for this one. We are gonna say goodbye, and in leaving, as always, we say good games, everybody.
Good games.